So you're divorced, right? After this, right?
Yeah.
All this goes on. Now, you decide you want to re-enter like the romance space, right?
I want to find love again.
The crazy world of like, however you want to look at it. So what is it like transitioning from, I just got through a situation that didn't end well. What's your motivation to try again?
Well, I think our motivations instinctively is we want connection. We don't like to be alone. You know, whether you're an introvert and you love to have a lot of alone time, at some point you still need there is a sense of you that needs direction. That needs connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Even introverts need connection. For me, I'm an extrovert. So one of the things that I did that I wanted to make sure was that I was really honest with myself and with him as to why our marriage ended. And I was able to have that closure type of conversation. And I want to bring that up before I kind of go into how that contributed to me wanting to be involved and find love again. Because what ended up happening was when things were said and done, you know, before we even got the final papers, there was an opportunity where Jay and I were able to literally sit down and have a conversation about who's taking the house and who's taking the dog, and why didn't this work out, and why were you like this, and why did you react that way? And I feel that the way that a relationship, how me or how every individual contributes to the ending of a relationship really does affect how you view love going forward.
Yep.
You know, being able for us to talk about the things that we were never able to say as a couple really helped me learn more about myself and what I needed to do to be a better partner. Right. And the things that I was really good at that he appreciated, but maybe he didn't say them as much, or the things that I really appreciated about him that I never really said to him. And so that allowed me to look at love as not something like, oh, love only hurts. No, I was a contributing member in why that relationship didn't work. And if I can be better, then that means I can have a better relationship.
And who asked for that closure conversation? Was that you or him?
You know, it wasn't, I don't think either. I initiated it, but It wasn't like I wanted to have that conversation. We found ourselves talking about the last pieces of assets that we had to distribute between us. And so we were in the mediator's office and we're having that conversation, and it just presented itself. It opened it up to where we were
talking like this in front of the mediators. Like,
no. So the mediator gives you a space. Like once you go over certain things, once you go over the sheets and what you have to fill out, they give you space so you can have that conversation privately. Yeah. Because we don't have lawyers. We agreed that we would do it amongst ourselves. Okay. And so in that space that we had, we're sitting across from one another. You know what I mean? And we're talking, and the conversation just went there because I said to him, I said, look, what part of the reason that I know that this is ending is we want different things. And I want you to be happy. I want you to meet a beautiful woman and have amazing children, have that family that you hold so close to you. For me, I have a different vision of how I want my life to play out. So, and I think that by me saying that, it was what really allowed us to like
move forward,
accept that this is over, but be able to say, look, this is the parts that weren't the greatest of our marriage. And this is what you did that hurt me.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we cried. We cried a lot. I think it was the third time since I known him, and I had known him for a long time, that I saw that emotion from him. And so on that note, I decided to take some time for myself before I really kind of started dating again, because I needed to soak that in. Yeah. I needed to know the things that I was not good at. And I needed to look at those shadow parts, as some of my clients call them, like shadow parts of ourselves, to be able to say, okay, I may not sometimes be the great communicator I think I am. Or wait, I may not be great at explaining certain things. Or what are the fallacies that I have in my mind about, I think my partner knows me and they're supposed to know when I change in certain areas. So it was a really interesting experience. And then what ended up happening was, of course, right?
Yeah.
You have time for yourself and then your girlfriends call you up and you're like, hey, let's go out dancing.
We twerking tonight. We twerking. Yo, Daddy Yankee performing.
It's like, let's go out, you know what, whatever, it's been a tough week. We got to celebrate. And I'm like, what are we celebrating? Because being single again is not that it's a bad thing, but it's like, I just literally
How soon
had
after?
a really heartfelt conversation. They're like, you can't stay there.
How soon after?
So we had this conversation and it probably was 6 months, 7 months afterwards that I finally.
So 6, 7 months, that's when your friends want to go out?
No, my friends wanted to go out. Yes, but that was when I was like, okay, fine, let's go out. I had this conversation 3 weeks before we got, no, 4 weeks. No. Yeah. 4 to 6 weeks, I want to say, is the window before we got our final divorce papers. So once I got the final divorce papers, we already had that conversation. I kind of just went off the grid. Yeah. Remember, I went to stay with my best friend and I was just like,
I know, but how long had you been separated, aside from the papers, how long had you been separated from your previous husband before you are going out, twerking on the table and stuff?
I'd say probably close to a year, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Probably close to a year because everything in California, you have to wait 6 months before you can officially get divorced.
Got it.
And then before that, I was in Korea. So I'd say probably about close to a year.
Okay. It wasn't like a quick turnaround.
It wasn't like
you signing papers,
later.
you twerking while you signing papers, you just because if you would have said that, I'd be like, yo, she was ready to go. She was ready to go.
No. Okay, listen, just because I didn't go out to a club didn't mean that I didn't go out to lounges and hang out with my girls and stuff. But
lounges, we call it. That's what you kids are calling it these days? You went to lounges? Got it.
Chill lounges. That's where adults go.
Sure. All I heard was the word adult. Lounges.
So I went out and then it was that one conversation and my girlfriend's like, you know what? You got your papers. And I'm like, dude, like, this is hard. She's like, no, we are going out. We went out to this place in San Diego. It's a salsa club. And we went and it was like really the first time I had gotten like really dolled up. Like all the other times I got out, I was jeans and a cute shirt. And like,
right.
I kind of had that like, don't talk to me face. Like resting bitch face.
Yeah, I know that face. Love that face. Yeah. Bring that face.
Why?
Because I have a resting asshole face. Anyway, carry on.
So anyways, I got dressed and everything.
Actually,
and
no, real talk. I actually do like, not that I like the resting bitch face, but like,
it makes it challenging or something for you?
No, you know what it is? Because I've spoken to women with the resting bitch face. Mm. And I find it intriguing when I break them down to like their happy selves after or when I'm initiating conversation. In the middle of conversation, I'm like, you're not even a horrible person. So stop presenting yourself like one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're just like, anyway, that's just.
Maybe they just went through a divorce or a breakup.
Oh, well, there's that. Sorry, ladies. Apparently, I can't read the clues.
No, so we went out. It was the first night that so a couple people hit on me, and I was like,
a couple people. How about the whole bar?
The whole bar did not hit on me. No. It was just a
Here
couple
she
of guys,
comes,
and it was nice.
Lady in red. You know, you listen, first of all, you got all dolled up and you're like, I don't know. Everybody just wants to talk to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I twerk on the bar.
I was salsa dancing, so there is no twerking in salsa.
Twerk
dancing.
on a bar. Listen, what is salsa? Salsa is twerking with guidance. Okay? That's what it is. All right.
Listen.
Like, come on, twerking with a partner. You know what I mean? Coordinated twerking. Elegant twerking. All right, let's be real here. So you went out, you experienced being single right? You're back on the market. You're back on the prowl. So like when you got married at 20, how old were you? You got married at 24?
Mm-hmm.
You got married at 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you were married for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you're approaching your 30s, no, wait, I'm assuming you were 30 by the time you got divorced.
Well, I was single, yeah. And then I ended up meeting my husband, when I was in my 30s. So
when you're in your 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But you started dating again in your 30s after you got divorced, right? And in the process of doing that, were you dating online? Were you like going out? Like, what does that look like? You cracking up because I smell ratchetry. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you smell.
Oh my God. I can't even, I'm at the edge of my seat with this one. So what is that? So what is that giggle for? Talk to me. What
All
is that?
of the above. I dated through online dating. I went out with my girlfriends. Every opportunity, every weekend there was something going on. Parties, barbecues, whatever it was.
She wasn't on a date every week with a new candidate. Don't lie. It's not, there's nothing, listen. You're single. You do your thing.
Listen. No, it's not that. It's just that I think when you hear that, people immediately assume, or I would say what has happened to me is people assume, because this happened to me at my job.
What?
People began to assume that I was sleeping with all these people I was dating.
No.
And I'm like, no.
No, what I mean is you were playing your options. You were exercising your options in whatever way that may be. Meaning people were interested in you. You were taken out on dates, or you went out, you hung out, partied with people, and you were accepting of your singleness.
Accepting of my singleness.
Yes. So was that hard for you? Or was that an easy transition?
It was a hard transition because first off, why do you think it took me so long to actually like go out, get rolled up and remember how it is to interact with a stranger? What was the most awkward?
What was the most awkward like situation?
Oh my gosh.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
A guy.
I'm not healed.
Okay, so a guy asked me, he's like, wow, I see you here with your girlfriend. You guys are really beautiful. So tell me, what is it that you do? And I'm like, because in my head, I'm thinking, do I tell this guy that I'm a Marine? Do I tell him that I'm a spy? No, I don't tell him that. Do I tell him that I just do admin work? Like,
what?
What do I tell him?
That's a lot of pivoting here. I don't understand. What's the problem?
Well, no, because it's like guys react a certain way when you tell them, oh, you're a Marine. Believe it or not, guys kind of have this like, because I look very feminine. They have this idea that because you're a Marine, like you should be really butchy and like, and I'm very feminine, and so it's kind of like you know what I mean? It's the reaction, and then they kind of like, well, it just goes into a lane that I don't want to like talk about.
So
like,
you'd rather say you're a receptionist?
I rather just have said like, so here's what I would say. I'd be like, weird. Oh, I work for the government. That's what I would say. I work for the government.
Even in that, like, I don't know. The thing is, like, if you are a Marine, like, own it, right? In my opinion, that's what it is. That's me. But I just feel as though, like, when you say you work for the government, right? Like, of course, you can say whatever you want, but it stems from you not wanting to really expose this part of your life that is a big part of your life, right?
Absolutely, but you got to remember, I'm not talking to other military guys. I'm talking to other guys I work at a bank. I work at some of the guys I interacted, I work at a bank, or I do consulting, or, hey, I'm in real estate, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. Like, I just kept it, and I just knew at
some point, they're going to have to know that you are or were in the military. Like, they're going to have to know. So
social media didn't really exist, so I wasn't posting.
So you were just all cap. You were just out here capping in these streets, right? That's what I'm hearing. Okay, social media didn't exist, so I could just say whatever I want.
Exactly, and I didn't have to give explanations. It's just my experience was a lot of guys just felt I don't know if it was intimidated. I don't know if they felt uncomfortable. I don't really know what perception, but it was always this like, oh, like something didn't click for them. And like, I almost had to prove to them, well, yeah, I'm right. Like show them my ID card. And then I have to show like my name. Like that was the whole thing I didn't want to deal with.
Okay. Fair enough. And
Jeff, I'm like 5 feet.
Okay. Are you 5 feet?
I'm a tiny.
You're 5 foot even? I'm
5 foot even.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fair enough.
So I'm tiny. I'm very petite. So it just doesn't, it's like, huh? And I'm not like, you know, like I was very trim. I'm very trim.
Okay.
But I don't have that look.
Like what? Broad shoulders? A machine?
Yeah.
A machine gun? That's the look I'm looking at. You don't look like, well, Tomb Raider.
G.I. Jane.
I was thinking Tomb Raider. She's not even.
Yeah, I don't look like Tomb Raider, you know? And yeah. Anyways.
That's my nerd side coming out.
Yeah, I see that.